Is Shedeur Sanders playing today? How Colorado Buffaloes football legend is impacted by Browns QB depth chart. Shedeur Sanders is the most hyped fifth-round pick in the history of the NFL draft. There are a lot of reasons for that. His last name certainly contributed. So did his free fall from possible first-rounder to a choice at number 144 overall in the fifth. Regardless of the reasons, though, it's reality. Everyone wants to know what Shedeur is up to. That includes for Week 1 as the Cleveland Browns take on the Cincinnati Bengals. More, why Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is called Bill. Is Shedeur Sanders playing today? As of Sunday morning, Shedeur Sanders isn't expected to play on Sunday in Week 1 against the Bengals. The Browns' QB depth chart looks like this. Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Bailey Zappe, practice squad. The 40-year-old Flacco will start against the Bengals. His direct backup is Gabriel. The lefty was chosen in April, exactly 40 picks and a day earlier than Sanders. Sanders will likely be given the role of emergency QB3, meaning he can only get in the game if the first two guys get hurt. He may get a chance to start or at least play a solid role as the season goes along. But for now, Sanders looks like he'll have to watch and learn. Billy Hyan is a freelance writer with the Sporting News. He is a 2019 graduate of Syracuse University who has written about many sports and fantasy sports for the Sporting News. Sports reporting work has also appeared in a number of newspapers, including the Sandusky Register and Rochester Democrat and Chronicle. The question that has echoed across both college football circles and NFL fanbases in Cleveland and beyond is deceptively simple. Is Shedeur Sanders playing today? On the surface, it's just a game day inquiry. Yet beneath it lies an entire ecosystem of speculation, excitement, and concern. Shedeur Sanders, once the centerpiece of Colorado Buffaloes football and son of NFL Hall of Famer Deion Primetime Sanders, is now finding himself in a new reality. One shaped not by campus buzz in Boulder, but by the Cleveland Browns' complicated quarterback depth chart. This is not merely a story about whether a young quarterback is active or inactive for a game. It's about how legacies collide with modern roster politics, how hype meets patience, and how a city notorious for quarterback turbulence might shape the trajectory of one of college football's brightest exports. Part 1. From Boulder to Berea. Shedeur Sanders' rise to national prominence was as dramatic as it was inevitable. Under the watchful, charismatic leadership of his father at Colorado, Shedeur was more than just a quarterback. He was the heart of a cultural movement. His poise, clutch performances, and highlight-worthy deep balls turned Colorado from an afterthought into a weekly spectacle. By the time he declared for the NFL draft, few questioned his ability to lead at the next level. What people did question, however, was the where. Where would Shedeur land? The Browns, mired in their own quarterback narratives with Deshaun Watson's massive contract, veteran uncertainty, and a history of instability, seemed an unlikely destination. And yet, here he is, wearing the orange and brown, learning the system, and waiting for his moment. That waiting is the tricky part. Part 2. The depth chart puzzle. The Browns' depth chart is as much a puzzle as it is a pressure cooker. At the top sits Deshaun Watson, the $230 million investment whose every snap is scrutinized. Behind him, depending on the week, stand capable veterans like Joe Flacco, who returned to Cleveland to provide insurance, or a journeyman backup hungry to stay relevant. Then there's Shedeur. On paper, he's QB3, or worse, QB4 when the roster is crowded. That designation matters. In today's NFL, a QB3 is often inactive on game day unless special circumstances arise. Inactive means dressed but sidelined. It means holding the clipboard, wearing the headset, and watching as others get the reps. So when fans ask, is Shedeur Sanders playing today? The honest answer often tilts toward no, not because he lacks ability, but because the Browns' depth chart is a locked vault where financial investment dictates opportunities. This reality creates a strange duality. Shedeur is both the most intriguing quarterback on the roster and the least likely to touch the field. Part 3. The weight of legacy. The reason this question carries such gravity is simple. Shedeur isn't just any rookie quarterback. He's a Sanders. That surname carries the weight of expectation unlike any other. Deion Sanders wasn't merely a player. He was a generational entertainer who defined swagger in the NFL. His leap from college coaching stardom to the Power 5 spotlight at Colorado only amplified Shedeur's brand. Shedeur himself, though calm and composed, is acutely aware of the spotlight. Every time he steps on a practice field, reporters track his throws. Every time he jogs into the tunnel, fans debate whether he should already be starting. And every time he isn't active on game day, the murmurs grow. Are the Browns wasting Shedeur Sanders? Legacy, in this case, is both a blessing and a curse. It guarantees attention, but it also magnifies absence. Part 4. The Economics of Playing Time. In the NFL, depth chart decisions are rarely about talent alone. They're about contracts, cap hits, and organizational politics. Deshaun Watson's guaranteed contract looms like an immovable object. No matter how Watson plays, the Browns have invested too heavily to bench him easily. That leaves backups in limbo. For Joe Flacco, the role is clear: steady veteran insurance. For Shedeur, it's far murkier. The Browns may see him as a developmental project, a trade asset, or even the quarterback of the future if Watson falters. But in the short term, his opportunities hinge less on performance and more on finances. Thus, the weekly question, is Shedeur playing today, isn't answered by practice highlights or fan petitions. It's answered by salary cap math and executive decisions. Part 5. The Fanbase Divide. Cleveland fans, passionate and famously long-suffering when it comes to quarterbacks, are split on Shedeur Sanders. One camp sees him as the future, the injection of youth and charisma the Browns need to escape their endless carousel of passers. They argue that if the season is lost, why not let Sanders gain experience? Why not hand him the keys to the franchise and see if lightning strikes? The other camp is more cautious. They remember Johnny Manziel, Brandon Weeden, Brady Quinn, the list goes on. They know that rushing a young quarterback into a toxic environment can ruin careers. For them, keeping Shedeur on the bench isn't neglect, it's protection. Every Sunday, as rosters are announced, these debates flare anew. And every Sunday, the answer to "is Shedeur Sanders playing today?" becomes a referendum on how the Browns are perceived to value their young talent. Part 6. Shedeur's Perspective. What about the man himself? Shedeur Sanders has consistently shown maturity beyond his years. At Colorado, he handled media storms with poise. In Cleveland, he has echoed that patience, emphasizing growth, learning, and readiness. Privately, though, no competitor enjoys sitting. Sanders, raised in a household defined by confidence and competition, surely burns to prove himself. Each week he spends inactive is a week he believes he could change the narrative on the field.